So my good friend Serp put out two videos on Bitchute. The first one was about ethics in video game journalism, which you're not allowed to talk about on YouTube, as we've discussed before in the terms of service. You aren't allowed to insinuate that any video game journalism has ever been unacceptable. And his point was just like there's so much review bombing and bots and like trolls on Steam who are upvoting like games that are obviously bad and shenanigans on Kickstarter and all this other stuff that you're just like when video games come out now, you're going to have no idea what they're like. Like the trailer, you can't judge it based on that. Any of the reviewers, you just don't really know. The score on Metacritic could in no way really reflect like what users are saying or what professionals are saying. So he talked about that. I don't know why he was on about video game reviews. I think he was just kind of in a bad headspace. Maybe he played like some really paused Call of Cthulhu game. So that was video one. The second video, which was completely unrelated, was the fallout of the election. And basically his point was, for whatever reason, if it's the Republicans suck, their leadership is horrible, Trump's a buffoon, there was bad candidates, they have bad local elections, ethics in video game journalism, whatever you want to attribute it to, it's just not working anymore. We were supposed to have a red wave. We had the grifters on Twitter and YouTube going, they're going to win 56 seats. We're going to flip Washington. It's going to be like all this other. Okay, most of them didn't think that Washington was going to flip, but you get the idea. We're going to take like 40 more seats in the House. Trump's going to win like every swing. Like they said that and they got everyone's hopes up and they did this as a way to make money. Now, do I think that these people are deliberately lying? No, well, some of them are. But I think most of them are just, they can't accept that things are as bad as they are. And I kind of go back and forth, as you may have noticed. Some days I still think there's at least an attempt at a political solution. It'll come out and they'll give a general Patton speech. It'll be like, vote, guys, fight, resist. And then the other half of the time, I just think it's an apocalypse and we're dead and it's the end of history. And Serp actually goes into a lot of detail about the end of history because he actually read it in his video. But more or less, his point was, okay, we're kind of screwed politically. What we need to do is take as much stuff off the sinking ship as we possibly can, guys. It's, okay, you know what? And I was thinking about this, and I've said many times on this show that you should try to live debt free, that you should try to get a job, you should try to have a career, you should go to school. I've said all those things and I stand by that. I think that's morally correct and I think that's better for you. But that being said, the left, whenever they're in control, just completely loots the state. They give money to Black Lives Matter, they give it to the ACLU, they give it to SPLC, whatever acronym you want. They give it to activists, to community organizers. So whenever you get a little bit of power, you just give that money to your friends. You milk as much out of the system as you possibly can. Because every dollar you milk out of the system through legal disability claims or subsidies or just applying for things, any dollar you take out of the government is a dollar they're not spending on cutting a kid's dick off. And I know that's crude, but that's kind of the truth. It's a dollar they're not spending on teaching your kids to hate themselves and to hate you. I mean, let's just think about this for a second. The welfare dollar is going to go to somebody. Would you rather it go to like some guy who's trying to raise his kids or something like that? Or would you rather it go to some gangbanger? I mean, it seems pretty obvious at this point. And we can talk about it's taxpayers' money and stuff. Well, most of it isn't even taxpayers' money anymore. It's shit that they borrowed from the Fed or from other countries or quantitative easing. It's nonsense. It's the debt, particularly in the US, is so high and going up so quick. It doesn't really matter. They could spend like $250 billion. It wouldn't matter. The U.S. I don't think can really default because it owns its currency and its own. Its debt is in its own currency. So theoretically, if they had to, they just print like a $20 trillion bill and give it to the Fed, and then the debt would be resolved. But it's going up. Most of the money's borrowed anyways. So yeah, take out any money you can. Get any grants you can. If you could get on welfare or get some kind of income subsidy or food stamps or whatever, just do it. Because every dollar you milk out of the system is a dollar that's going to you and to people who think like you and act like you and have similar values to you. And once again, I get it. People take seriously stuff like he who won't work, neither shall he eat. And I do think it's important to have a job. But if you get an opportunity, if it's at a company, if it's at your government, if it's at an organization, to get some money or to get some gibs or to get some stuff, you just take it. I mean, at this point, everything's just been looted for the other interest groups. We might as well do it ourselves. And Serp's point was like, let's just do gibs. Let's just do maternity leave. Let's do massive subsidies and tax breaks for people with kids. Just figure out who votes conservative or who shares our values. And if we ever get in power, just throw money at them. Run up the debt as much as possible. Because it doesn't matter at this point. They're never going to pay it off, especially post-COVID. We might have some of the nonsense we had in Canada the last time the Conservatives were in power, where they did a bunch of fancy shenanigans to try to get the books balanced for 1 year as they were going into an election, when they spent like crazy during the global economic crisis. Like, let's just think about this for a minute. If the Republicans won every single seat in both the House and the Senate and the presidency, would they balance the budget? I mean, it's obviously no, they're not. They'd probably increase spending even more like Bush did to fund some fucking war overseas. So if the spending's going to go up anyways, just cut everything you can to like affirmative action and just give it to like parents. Like, you could even put stipulations in there they have to be married, or set up rig the tax code that way. Just jack up the charitable tax contribution tax credit for religious institutions. I mean, I think that's what's got to be done. Is this actually going to solve any of the ongoing issues? Probably not. I mean, Serp's point was if we just pick some groups and start giving them money, maybe they'll start voting for us now more. And his point was more groups that are either like 50-50 or already lean that direction. Like, married women already tend to vote. I know if you look at like white women, the Republicans would still win presidential elections. Married women tend to vote conservative, or whatever, in whatever country they're in. So give them money, give their husbands money, give their kids money. Just take it away from the other people. This is what has to be done. And I get that a lot of you are good, hardworking people. You're decent people. You want to do the right thing. You want to live your lives in a way, you want the state to be similar to the way you live your life, where it makes a certain amount of money, it spends that amount of money, it doesn't do grossly irresponsible shit and just throw stuff at like lottery tickets and stuff. But the truth of the matter is, that's just kind of how it is. So take the student aid. If you have government loans, just default on them. Just fleece the system for every last penny. Because if these assholes are going to be using all this money anyways, it might as well be you. I know a friend of mine said, I'm taking some Trump bucks or some Medicaid or something. I'm like, dude, just do it. Like, if you're not going to do it, then like some illegal immigrant's going to. So just loot the system, guys. If you get in a position of power, just give money to yourself and to people who think like you in a completely legal fashion, of course. I mean, if there's no ethics in video game journalism, then you might as well just give the games out for free. So God bless. Maybe this is a manic, insane video, but Serp, I think, made a very good point, so definitely check out his. I'll talk to you guys later.